Danny, your question back here?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Would you mind going back to the slide with the numbers on it?
Sure.
I just didn't understand the second one with deployment. Those numbers, I didn't total them up to 279 deployment. And I was wondering what components are you using in the 279 number? The 279,657 for deployment and the total project cost. I was just wondering which.
I would have to.
Or is the total cost adding up each of those green boxes? Is that what you're
Correct.
Okay, got it, thanks.
Okay. See, and you know, full disclosure, you could have caught me there. I was scrambling for a moment. But,
thank you.
yes, no, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Great. Okay. And is it Jonathan? Yeah. Okay, Jonathan. I've seen. I can answer that in a couple of different ways. Primarily, customers.
Hey, Daniel, can you repeat the question?
Sure, absolutely. When we're dealing with our client base and our customer base or our prospect base, if you will, do they come to us with an understanding of the benefits they're looking to achieve? Are they looking to actually be taught what to look for and what benefits they're seeking? Or are they actually just under a mandate that are being forced to do it? Is that fair? So let me take the last one first. I head up business development for Odin. I don't enjoy the mandate customers. It's just something that, you know, is being forced on them. It's something that I find they're it's almost like a support group. You know, you get in there and you say, hey, I'm sorry, this is what you got to do. And it's not really what RFID should be all about. It creates a substantial amount of value for clients. And so what we're seeing now is that as the mandates have subsided from Walmart, from DOD, that real business value is starting to be recognized. So from a mandate perspective, we don't have a great deal of clients that we're working with there. From a standpoint of, do we handle folks that come to us that have benefits already thought in mind? Yes, I would say the preponderance do. I would also say, though, we do a great deal of education today, hopefully, if we do our job right, is part of that education process. I'd love to, Patrick, what do you think about that question?
I think you got it spot on, Daniel. There's a reason. We focus on three core verticals, so the aerospace, the federal government, and non-pharmaceutical healthcare. We've got two emerging in the financial services and oil and gas. And the reason we're tightly focused on that, we'll do pretty much take all comers when it comes to lab and R&D and that type of thing. But in terms of large scale, kind of seven-figure type of deals, we focus on those industries specifically. And it starts out, I'll use Airbus as a great example. A lot of people heard the press and heard everything going back 3 years ago in RFID about Boeing, and you saw them at trade shows. Airbus was quiet during that whole period. What they had done, though, is they hired Accenture, and they spent about $2 million developing a business case. And they took about 50 potential business cases, had Accenture flush out this ROI analysis, and then pick the top 12 and start moving forward with that type of business case. And turn on the switch. We know exactly what we're doing. We spent a lot of time planning, and we're going to go forward with it because we see where the value is. So we started in with Airbus, going back almost 2 years ago now, and we saw, for instance, the jig tracking I mentioned a little bit this morning. So when I walked into Cessna, when I walked into Hawker Beechcraft, when I walked into Piper to go through their things, I said, I bet when that wing comes out of that autoclave and it gets off that jig, you're going to have someone slide out of the way because they're in a hurry to get that wing into the next stage of production. Then someone's going to come back 3 weeks later and start looking for that jig because it's time to run through again. You're going to have trouble finding the jig. And everyone, the light bulb went on. They said, that's exactly right. And I said, we've got a solution for someone who's done this on a 10x scale for what you're doing. So it started out with someone who had a defined example. guys are going to think like the Boyd analogies that I made this morning. That's the best case, is you find something that hasn't been done before. That's where there's tremendous data. We could be the first innovator. But if you're looking to stay up with your abreast with your competition, then there are other things we should be on. Does that answer the question?
Jonathan, another example of what's going on in the market, actually, I believe you heard from Mr. John Fricky earlier. And what we're seeing now is that the thought leaders in particular industries are gathering together and to understand what's the business value for RFID for not just me as an individual company, but us as an entity, as an industry. So John's actually heading up an initiative for the Financial Services Technology Council to help understand why RFID is going to help financial services as a whole. They're taking it on faith that this will turn into a bit of a commodity play over time. And if that's the case, I'm going to get the best opportunity right now. It's not going to be a competitive advantage I can maintain. We as an industry are going to gain, we're going to gain volume power, purchase power by being together. We'll also be able to share best practices in how to implement RFID. So we're seeing that also in the oil and gas industry, where there was an announcement recently of a consortium to get together an interest group for the oil and gas industry. So those folks that are saying to themselves, I don't want to go out and find out all on my own, I'm going to actually work as an industry to collaborate together with some of my competition, because it doesn't have competitive advantage to me. Any more? Well, this is a tricky segment. And I worked really hard to try to get you some salient information, and I hope I did all right. I'm happy to take more questions. We've got Kevin, you've got Chris out back, you've got Patrick as well. Let's talk about these things. We learn as much from you as you do from us. So thank you very much for your time.